Hi everybody, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful week and some good practice with Dash and Plotly. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to connect between the data table, the graphs, and the Mongo database. A Mongo database is a Mongo with no SQL database, so you don't have to use SQL. It's high speed, it's scalable, there's major companies around the world that use it, and it's easy to set up. So we're going to create this app together. This app is tied to the Mongo database on your computer. So the server is going to sit on your computer. And if you do things like this, you change the owner name from Ben to Tom, you change cat to horse, you'll see that the data here updates automatically as you change the data table. And if you save the data to the Mongo database on your computer, then you can refresh the app and you'll see that the new information is in there. You can also go to the last page because this has like 20, 50 different rows. Add a row, and you can add a row. You can put here Adam, a dog, a lab, the age. You can leave some some fields empty if you want, and just this will automatically update this. Oh, this is empty, so let's put this as false. It will automatically update the graphs. And if you save it, it will save to the database. So when you refresh, you'll see again that if you go all the way to the end, that this information was saved. You can also take away some rows and save it, and it will do the same. So the advantages of using this Mongo database is that you don't have to rely on Excel sheets. Excel sheets are good, but not for deployment, because when you have the app on the internet, you want to make sure that the data can be updated consistently, right? Or constantly. So if you work with Excel sheet, you have to download the Excel sheet, create new data, upload it to your app, and then redeploy the app onto the web. With Mongo database tied to the dashboard app, you don't have to do that. Every time you change the app, or every time your client change the data on the app, then the data will save automatically because it's pulling the data from the Mongo database on your computer. Okay, so we're going to do this today, and I'm going to highlight data on shelters because I want to encourage you to also help your community and contribute to shelters if possible around your community, around your neighborhood. You can help them create a database that can track their incoming dogs and cats and ages and their health. If they're neutered, and you create new columns, whatever the shelters need, because this will also allow them to see a data visualization of all their information that's coming in. Usually shelters don't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of high technology, so if you know this and you can help them out, good for you. Okay, so to start, go into my GitHub under the video, and this is all the data that we're going to work with, the files, the .py. And this is very important. We're going to work with this guide, install Mongo and build a local server. I built this guide for you. You can download it to your computer. We're going to do all this together, and at the end you have some articles that you can read that can really help you become an expert on the Mongo database and on Dash. Okay, so let's start with that. Great, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is download and install Mongo onto our computer. So number one, click on this link right here. This will take you to this tab, Community Server. Open this Community Server. This is the free version of Mongo database. I chose Windows. You can choose anything you want. And then download. Once downloaded, this will download this file here. Double click on it and start the installation. When you finish installing Mongo into your computer, I forgot. This is a link under the video. This will show you the installation steps, right? Because I already have it on my computer, but this will show you all the steps of how to install Mongo on your computer. Okay. Once you have it installed, go to step number 3 is to create a data and a DB folder in your C drive. So go to your C drive and just create an empty data folder. And inside this data folder, just create an empty DB folder. That's all you need for, that's what MongoDB needs for the server to work appropriately. Then open a new command prompt and go to the folder where Mongo was installed. So Mongo was installed on my computer in the C drive, program files, MongoDB server. So copy this link right here, but open the command prompt first, and then cd into that folder. Okay, so now you can see here that you're inside that folder. Now, run the following command to start. So to start the Mongo server, just write MongoD. This will allow you to start the server, MongoD. And this is how you can see that, that the server started. Now we have to start the Mongo shell. To start the Mongo shell, you open a new command prompt, you cd into this folder, and you type Mongo. So let's do that. New command prompt. cd into the folder where Mongo was installed, and then you just type Mongo. Okay, and this is what is indicates that Mongo shell just started on your computer successfully. One thing to notice is that they say that Mongo is deprecated and it's being replaced by Mongo SH. So we have to download and install Mongo SH on our computer. So I recommend doing that. Click on this link right here. Quickly, it will take you to this link right here, Mongo shell. Click Windows or whatever your operating system is. Whoops. Download. This will give you this file right here. Execute it. Install Mongo shell on your computer. Everything can be the default installation guide. And then this is optional. You don't have to do this, but if you do this step, you could start Mongo SH from anywhere on your computer. You don't have to cd into the file to start Mongo. So if you want to do this step, go into Edit, System Variables, go into Environment Variables, you'll see System Variables, and you'll see go into Path right here, double click, and here you see I already added this, but you will click New, and you would add this path right here. Remember, this path is the same path from step number 4. It's exactly this one. It's where you installed Mongo on your computer. So once you do that, just click OK, OK, OK. I'm going to do cancel, OK, OK, OK. And now that means that you can start Mongo anywhere on your computer. Remember, we installed Mongo shell, so right here I don't have to cd into C blah 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 blah. I can just do from here, I can do Mongo SH. And you see that this is the indication that Mongo shell just initiated on your computer. Now you can close. Oh, we just did step number 10. The last note here is if you restart your computer, you actually don't have to start MongoD before clicking Mongo H. You can close this, close Mongo SH, close both things, restart your computer, and after restarting your computer, you can open the command prompt and you can just click on Mongo SH. So you don't have to say MongoD like we said here first and then Mongo SH. You can just click on Mongo SH after you restart your computer because of how you installed Mongo, specifically because of this. You see how it says here, run MongoD as a service. This allows you to run Mongo SH without the MongoD. Okay, so we started Mongo SH. Okay, so we're done with this step. Now we're going to go into the second step. We're going to build a Mongo database on your computer. We're going to build the MongoDB on your computer using this Python file. There's two ways. So you can use the Python file, or you can do it directly with the shell, directly with this here. So first of all, let's do it with the Python file. So go to the GitHub, go to test Mongo, download this information in here, download this file. I have it right here, like this, test Mongo. And this is, we're going to unhashtag this. We're going to unhashtag this. And yeah, that's it. You'll see. Okay. So let me explain this a little bit. Here we are. You have to, before I forget, you have to do step number 2. You have to pip install PyMongo. If you don't have PyMongo on your environment variable or on your computer, you have to go to the terminal and pip install PyMongo. Okay, you need PyMongo. Obviously, you need Dash, you need Plotly, and you need Pandas to run this basic app and the app that we're going to build with the data table. Okay, so you installed PyMongo. We can close that. And after you install that, this app or this Python file imports these libraries. You're connecting to your computer server, which is the default. I think this is the default MongoDB server on your computer through the client object that you're creating. This is going to be the database that you're creating. And then you create a collection. Each database can have a table, or a collection. A collection is a table, and this collection is going to be called shelter A. Okay, and inside this table we can start building rows of data, which Mongo calls documents. So documents is the same as rows, and collection is the same as table. Remember that. So this is going to be our first row, animal, breed, age, and we're going to insert this row with this command, collection dot insert one row, and we're going to put record. If you want many, you just put many, but now we're only inserting one, and this is how you're going to insert, create the data table, the database, the collection, and then this row. So let's save this. Let's run it. Wait, actually, let me make sure we drop our data table first, because I created this data table for exercise, but I'm going to drop it. Database, sorry, not the data table. Okay, so if you can see, if we go to show DBs, you'll see there is no animals database here. The animals database doesn't exist. So we're going to create it here. Let's run, test Mongo. Done, and you know it's created because you can do this. You can unhashtag this, and you'll see that you can find, it will print out the data table, or you can go into step C and just go into use. Where is it? We can close this actually. We can go into use animals. Let's do use animals. So now you're inside the animals database, sorry. And then you're going to go DB collection name find. So DB, the collection name was shelter, remember, shelter A from here. Collection name shelter A. And then we're going to dot find, and it'll show you all the data inside, all the documents inside this collection. And this is the only document that we created, which is this one right here. Okay, now I recommend to, if you're building the database, just build it once, and if you want to build it once, just use the shell this to build your database. Don't build it through the Python file. I wanted to show you, so in case you wanted to, you can build it, but I think it's better to just build it through the shell. So to do that, let's drop our database, db.drop database. Okay, now you can see show DBs. You see there's no animals here, it was dropped. And now we're going to close this. We don't need this anymore. Okay, and we're going to look at the documentation. To create the data table, just go into use animals. We're going to use animals data table. Let's make this right here. Use animals. So now we created this database. Sorry, why I always say data table. Use this database. Now this database is empty, so there's not going to show anything. The next thing you want to do is to create the collection. So we're going to create this shelter A. Okay, so we just created the collection shelter A, and now we have to create the documents, this first row. Okay, so to do that, don't copy paste from here. It doesn't work very well to copy paste from Word, but it's db shelter A. Actually, we can copy paste from here. It's a lot easier. Let's do this. Okay, like that. So this is what you have to copy paste. I'm just copying fake data. See, db, oops, not collection, no, this doesn't work. db shelter A, like that. Okay, db shelter A, insert many, and you'll see we inserted this, enter, come on. And now we'll see if it works. Now you'll see db find. Let's see, where's db dot shelter A find, and we'll see what data is in there. So now we have Marv and Marv because we did this twice. So we have two documents in here. We have two rows. Okay, this is how you would insert the first row into, or the first document into your collection. Okay. So now we have our data table, right? We just did db find to see the information in there. Now let's see how we can connect it to the data table. Actually, before we connect it to the data table, if you want to see this code right here, I'm going to put it on my Patreon in case you're interested. 1 second. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is this code right here. I'm going to put it on my GitLab on the Patreon account. This I just don't have time to go over this in this tutorial, but I'm showing you with this code you're able to actually create to tie a Dash app to your Mongo server on your computer, where you can select with different drop downs. You can select the field you want to change, update the field. Let's say we want to change the animal, we want to change this to horse, and you can save it to the local server, to local Mongo server, and it will actually save. Or you can insert new rows, new documents, put all this, just click on insert new document, and it will actually save into your Mongo server. Okay, this is, if you're interested, you can find this on Patreon, or you can find it as, if you become a YouTube member, I'll give you access to my GitLab with all the code. I have a bunch of new code in there that you can use with this as well. This is really cool because it allows you to connect directly between Python, Dash, and the Mongo operators. So operators like set or insert, these operators that you can find on the links that I gave you here in the documentation. Okay, with these callbacks. So if you're interested, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to share it with you. All right, let's go to the main juicy part of today, which is this data table. All right. So to do this data table, let's change this back to cat. All right. To do this data table, download from GitHub this Jupyter Mongo Dash or Mongo Dash data table. Is the same file. This is for Jupyter, this is for Python. And you will see this file right here. So let's go over it and see what we're doing line by line. So first of all, we're importing all this data. I'm importing Jupyter Dash because I'm using Jupyter, but with what do you call it? PyCharm or Visual Studios, you can just use Dash if you want. All right. So I'm going to focus on Jupyter. So you import other libraries. I'm using Dash version 121 or higher for this to work. Importing Mongo client, and then like I did before, I'm connecting to my computer server, connecting to the database, connecting to my collection, and that's it. I'm not inserting anything, I'm not putting anything else, I'm just connecting to my collection and creating this object called collection. This will connect to our shelter. And then I'm instantiating Dash or Jupyter Dash, and then I start the layout. In the layout, I have an empty div. This empty div right here, we're going to put all this data table. This data table, as soon as this interval is activated, it's going to pull the data from Mongo server into a pandas data frame, and it's going to generate this data table. So that's why you have this data table, and then you have a hidden interval, and then you have two buttons, save to Mongo database and add row. Right here you can see you have this data table, all of this, and then you have these two buttons, save to database and add row. And then you have an empty div again, and this empty div is where in the last callback is where we're going to put the graphs, this histograms right here. They're going to go into this empty div right here, into the children, and then this is just a fake placeholder. We're not going to use this. Okay, so how do we create this? How do we connect the data from Mongo, all this data right here, db.shelter_a_find, how do we connect all this data to the data table? So we're going to do that with the first callback. So if you go here, you'll see this is the first display data table with data from Mongo. So all of this here, up, down to here. So what are we doing here? We're saying take the interval db, this interval right here, and whenever it's activated, whenever this interval is activated, do something here. Okay, do something and return this data table to the empty div, to the children right here. Now this interval is activated either once a week, because this is like 8,640 something seconds, so this is once a week, or whenever the app is refreshed. So if you refresh the app, it's going to activate this interval, and then it's going to activate this callback. And what happens inside this callback? I'm taking from the collection find. Remember, the collection is actually the shelter table. I'm finding all the data inside the collection. I'm turning it into a pandas data frame. I'm going to drop the first column, because the first column of the data frame is automatic generated IDs. And this is a BSON, a basin data type. We don't really need it. It won't work on a data table, so I'm going to drop it because I don't need this automatically generated ID. So drop it, and then I'm printing the head here, and you'll see that it prints these 20 rows, or at least the first 20 rows, without the ID. Just owner, animal, breed, age, health, blah, 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 which is all of this, right? In each row 20 times. So I'm printing it, and then I'm returning the data table with this ID. I'm creating the columns, and I'm putting the data frame into a dictionary of the data table. And then a bunch of other things here. If you want to learn more about what each one of these props are, just click above on the introduction to the Dash data table, and then go into a deeper explanation of each one of the props of the Dash data table. Okay, so this is how the data table is actually started, and every time somebody refreshes, every time you choose, let's say a new, let's put this age as 18, enter. If I save to the Mongo database, and then now it's saved to the database, if I refresh it, if I refresh the app as the client, then you see that now it's refreshed, and this age is 18. Why? Because every time I refresh the app, the interval is activated, and every time the interval is activated, the callback function is activated, which pulls the data from the collection, from the Mongo table, and generates the data table from this df. Okay? Second callback. This is the callback that allows me to add new rows to the data table. So I'm just taking the state, the data, and the columns of my table. This is my table ID. Just taking these two columns and the data, and this is state, so it doesn't activate the callback. This, the end clicks whenever this button, adding rows, what is this button? Right here, add row. Whenever this button is clicked on, only when I click on this, then it will activate the callback right here. And when this callback is activated, I'm actually creating a new row with new column names and empty IDs. So if I go all the way to the end, to the last page, I'll create a new row. See, and now these are new rows with new names. These are the names of the columns, but empty IDs. So if I can put IDs here, Adam, John, let's put Cat, let's put Tabby, 4-year-old, good health, not neutered. See? So now I created a new row. And remember, if you want to save it onto the app, just save it to the database, refresh the app if you want, and you'll see that now this is in the last, oops, I think we created too many rows here. Okay. Yeah, there you go. The John, Adam, this is the new row that we created. And here we have the histogram and another histogram of neutered. Okay, so this was the second callback, new rows. Now, for the third callback, save the new data table to the Mongo database. So this is actually taking the data from my data table, and this callback is activated only when the Save It button is clicked. So this is the Save It button right here. So only when this Save It button right here is clicked, then this callback is activated. And I'm putting all the data from the data table into Pandas data frame. And then I'm deleting the whole collection, the whole table from Mongo database, because I'm going to add this whole new data table to it, right, from the df. So what I'm doing, as soon as let's say I go to row number 1, let's say delete row number 1, delete Adam, so now the first row is Jim. I deleted Tom and Adam. So what happens, as soon as I click on this, I save it. As soon as I save it, I'm actually taking this data into a Pandas data frame, deleting all the data that was inside Mongo database before, and then I'm reinstalling or reconnecting all the new data into the Mongo database. All right, let's try and delete this. Save. If I refresh, you'll see that Jim is now the first name, and it deleted all the data prior to it. Okay, and then I'm just returning an empty string, because in Dash, in the callback, you have to return something, so I'm returning this empty string to an empty div. The last thing is just connection between the data table and the graphs. So I'm putting all the data from the data table, and every time the data is changes on the data table, I put this inside a data frame, and then I create 2 histograms with X's and colors, and then I put this histograms inside the figure prop of the dcc.graph, which is inside an HTML div, each 6 columns wide. So that's why they're one next to the other. And remember, these two div, this list, all this list, it actually goes inside the children of the show graph. So this list goes inside right here. This is where the list goes in. And that's why you have these two graphs underneath these two buttons right here. Okay, so this is really what I wanted to show you. Don't forget to go into all these articles inside the guide at the very bottom, because it will really give you some more explanation on Mongo and how to install things. I found that this web page is very good because it has many different tutorials on Mongo, so make use of it. Like always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to ask me on YouTube, write me on LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever you want. And I hope I see you next time. If you really enjoy the content, if you enjoyed the material, I hope you can support me and the education that I provide on Patreon or on YouTube. Always remember, we're better together, so help each other out. Go out there, build data tables and databases for shelters, and to help other people, to help other nonprofit organizations that are helping our dogs and cats. And keep practicing, never give up. Until next time, bye bye.